you already know what an iceberg is. You don't live under a rock. And if you do, Patrick, you will get it quite fast. The deeper we go, the more obscure it gets. And this time, it gets really obscure because we're talking about lost media. JoJo lost media. This took a lot of research and time, so...
Please like and subscribe, please.
Enough chit-chatter. Let's dive in. I'm excited. Do you dive into icebergs? In 2022, an interviewer asked Junichi Hayama.
It's been 15 years since the Phantom Blood movie released in theaters. You worked as a character designer and animation director on it. Can you explain why it never made it to home video release?
I don't want you to see me angry and pissed off, so it's better if I don't answer this question.
The movie was produced by APP Studio, who also made the JoJo OVA People Won't Shut Up About.
People's me.
Amongst the crew was Marco D'Ambrosio as main composer.
It's really important for later, so do not forget it.
And also the hip-hop crew sold out. Araki likes these two little guys. He named 2 characters after their songs, which makes a lot of sense. What other reason would you have to give your OC the name Wakapipo? That sounds like a Lala Boo Boo. It actually was a tie-in release of the Phantom Blood PS2 video game. Well, it wasn't officially released, but it was shown in cinema. With the help of reviews and blog posts, we can paint a general picture of what the movie was about. For one, the movie had taken great creative liberty with its adaptation. They changed a lot. Not just the character designs, but also cutting out some of Part 1's most iconic moments. One change, for example, near the end, during the fight on the boat, in the original, while the boat was sinking, Elizabeth, who is pregnant at the time, at first wants to die with Jonathan together. But Jonathan protests.
Oh, blimey, you have to leave for the sake of our child, or else you will drown in water.
So she enters the coffin and survives. Meanwhile, in the film, she escapes without a goodbye and is not pregnant, taking away all of the emotional weight. Another huge change that I should have mentioned first was omitting Speedwagon from everything. The entire film. Every role Speedwagon had in the original story was replaced by Zeppeli. He ended up having a way bigger role too. We don't know a lot what happened during production, but to give some context to the Junichi Hayama quote from earlier,
I don't want you to see me angry and pissed off.
Junichi Hayama first joined as a character designer. Everyone who needed to be casted was casted. Suddenly, the director of the whole thing left, just went away, and Junichi had to be the director that stepped up, thereby giving him a much bigger role in the movie's production out of nowhere. Furthermore, they showed off a teaser 2 years before release, and the footage featured Speedwagon, who notably was Thanos twerked out of the film. People were promised Speedwagon and the film didn't deliver. That's false advertisement. That's a crime, Araki. The cops are on their way right now and their body cams are turned off. You see the picture. A slightly chaotic production. So that was the reason why we never got an official release then? No. It was the
Islamophobia!
Part 3 last arcs famously take place in Egypt, a majority Muslim country. Because of that, APP Studio included a shot of Dio reading the Quran. Egyptian Islamic fundamentalists launched a complaint over this, leading to Shueisha halting the publication of most JoJo entertainment for a whole year. A whole year! That's 8 JoJo Lands chapters, I think. Shueisha promised to edit out the scenes and re-release it in the future, but they obviously never did. It appears all anime production regarding JoJo was shut down, including the Phantom Blood's movie's home video distribution. We could debate over if this was justified or not all day, but I'm not the person for that. But if I saw an anime and the most evil, nasty, flamboyant vampire character in that show is rapping about religion, I would also not be happy.
Angry and pissed off. But Noah, I heard that Araki had all the copies of him destroyed because Speedwagon wasn't featured in it. Is that true?
There's an actual thing that's been going around for years. There's zero, and I mean zero, trustworthy credit for this claim. No one anywhere near the production even implied anything like this. This is a rumor stemming from Reddit, the 9gag of today's age. And also doesn't make sense. Araki doesn't have these kinds of powers to just demand the movie be burned like his big brother from the hit novel 1984 or the Nazis from the hit novel 1984. But what is left? I mean, like most lost media, it's not entirely lost after all, right? Well, we have the previously mentioned trailers and preview material. But aside from that, we have nothing from the movie. Not a single bit of footage. What's that? You want me to address the 60-minute work print shaped elephant in the room?
Address me, goddammit.
Yeah, one day a San Francisco AAU student just uploaded a 60-minute work print of the film, including never-before-seen footage. It had been made by Marco D'Ambrosio.
I told you it would be important. I hope you didn't forget it.
He had been a student at the time and did this as part of a class project. He would, however, like most students, drop out of that class the same year, leaving it unfinished. Oh, if you only had finished it. Imagine what we could have had. A 17-minute work print. Furthermore, the JoJo wiki user Frosty Fusion X actually found all character design sheets for this movie. Like, basically every character, almost all of them. We have so much of the film's production we could damn near make the movie ourselves. All remaining archives of this film are held by Shueisha, and with no plans of releasing them, they might remain lost forever. Or it might just get found on a random YouTube page. Like that one Phoenix and Fairpie, it was lost for 10 years.
Mom says I'm in charge conditionally.
Skank.
Listen, I know this section is getting longer than it should be, but before we dive deeper, you need to check this out. For the premiere, in selected theaters only, they displayed 17 bronze Jonathan figures. They made them out of bronze because there's another JoJo part that's gold. No, but actually, I would genuinely skin someone alive to get my hands on one of these. Like all the other entries that we are going to be discussing on this tier, DR, Diamond Records, was a mobile gacha game. It was first released as a beat'em up before adding a turn-based game mode. The updates after that would focus on the turn-based mode more, losing focus on what the game introduced at first. Both game modes relied on the use of statues. It's easiest to explain this with an example. You start your game and you choose your character. You want to play as, of course, Chicken Lil, the stupid little boy who thought the sky would fall on him, from part 7. Now you can choose between several Chicken Lil statues that you previously rolled. Most have the same movesets, i.e. attack, block, stand abilities, and so forth. They all vary in stats, however, and the rare special nefarious green chicken statue has additional unique abilities.
Hopefully the research can explain to you what the abilities are.
Almost every character that was added would be added in both versions. Very impressive, considering the game has 91 playable characters. That's 41 more than All-Star Battle, and All-Star Battle had only one game mode. You ever wanted to play as Wildback? We got you. Wang Chan? We got you. The delinquents from the beginning of part 4? Going to want to sit down for this. Now what blew me away were the statues, the artwork, and the 3D models. Wow, some real work has been put into these, you can tell. We live in a new age, with AI and generative work and everything, factory-made art almost. And I'd like to remind you that what you're looking at is entirely handmade. Hours of research and study and work went into each person's artistic skills to get them to a level where they are so they can make something like this. Each single one of those artists yearn to make, they yearn to create something beautiful, and they did.
You're ugly as young. Get the fuck off the screen right now.
This right here is, to me, the definition of ambition. A display of what you can do if you really try. But now, it's gone. Starting 2017, becoming unplayable in September 2019 and ultimately shutting down its servers and thereby access to this game November of the same year. It was playable for only 2 years. You ever notice how life got worse after November 19th, 2019? I noticed.
I notice it every fucking day of my life.
In between that time, by the way, they deactivated access to the in-game currency. So for a whole month, you were able to buy in-game currency to a game that was about to get shut down and that you couldn't even play anymore. And I bet someone did buy it. That guy must feel like the first guy buying Bitcoin. Real good long-term investment, muchacho. This next game was of course a gacha again and ran for 7 years. This game was alive for 7 years. Most of my info I got from this video. Shout out to Dokkan.
Time to, have some circles, beat each other up.
The game itself mainly worked with cards. You would battle with them, like seen here.
Please, someone help, they're beating my ass.
JoJo gadget ass whooping.
Everybody do it, asshole.
The cards would feature all sorts of stuff. Journal, standing, journey. A lot of the cards featured what-if scenarios. Imagine Eyes of Heaven characters, but with cards, and reused manga panels, and glorified gambling. Some featured iconic moments, such as Dio fighting Jotaro, but instead of them fighting each other, they are fighting each other while fighting other cards, who also can feature characters fighting each other.
Had cards with Part 3 Dio and Part 3 Jotaro facing off. Of course, you had Josuke and Kira facing off, one with Diabolo and Joruno.
The game involved a lot of strategizing, especially at the beginning, before a certain thing happened, which we'll go into later. The game was very simple but shockingly addictive. By the looks of it, it kind of reminds me of those Candy Crush type of games. The games that only moms play, but then once you play it, you see why they play it all day. They're addictive, they're bad for your health, mental and otherwise. It alienates you from your family and coworkers and how addictive it is, just like heroin or casino or gacha games. Side note, my only experience with gacha games happened when I was 13. I was obsessed with playing this Fire Emblem Android game. I didn't even like or knew what Fire Emblem was. I just played it a lot and constantly put 5 stars and made all of my classmates jealous. I get asked often why I don't have friends. I lie and say I don't know, but I do know. Fire Emblem knows too.
Ever notice how life went uphill?
It failed for several reasons. 1. Little fan interaction. Recom, the developer of the game, had done live streams and feedback sessions for all the other games they made. The JoJo community received nothing of the sorts whatsoever. The farewell post even seemed very dry and unpersonal.
Of course, you would think for people who have been working on a game, especially for 7 years, you would think that they would have a little bit more to say than just game shutting down.
To profits, of course, the game had high profits at the start, but eventually tanked more and more. Mainly because it was one of the few free-to-play friendly gacha games out there, which is why it succeeded at the first place, but also sadly why it failed. Less people playing, less profits, less reason to keep the operation running.
I present you the last and most important reason.
GR Golden Experience Requiem, I need you to log in. This is so funny.
Bro, I'm really about to get your pickle chin that boy. Hey, go that collard green hair that boy. Oh, hit on boy,
The game only did part 1 to 3 at first, but caved in later to add 4 and 5. And with 5, they also added GR. GR, being one of the strongest and most beloved stands at the time, caused a huge influx of players. On the App Store rank, it went from
310th
place to
17th
in 2 days. The impact can really not be understated. Here's a graph displaying the player numbers during its lifespan. I wonder when GR was introduced. He was strong in-game too, destroying most characters with ease. But here comes the problem. Because he was so strong, you didn't need to strategize like you used to before. Now, you can just have GR send everyone to eternal damnation and win the game, which is very manga accurate. People had thereby no incentive to spend money on game products anymore, because they already had the best character. And he seemingly stayed the best character till the very end. Unlike DR, Dime Records, this game looks very ugly to me, super ugly. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. While DR was colorful and had some interesting gameplay, this is brown and features billiard pool gameplay. DR had some nice remorse with its own charm unique to the game. This one reuses Araki's artwork every single time. I like Araki's artwork, but every single time? Imagine All-Star Battles, but it was paper cutouts. That actually sounds kinda cool. I might not like it, but it had its fans. Those fans will never get to play this ever again. It's gone, forever, alongside hard work by programmers and devs. It's lost to the wind and time like the echoes of every voice that's speaking right now. Which reminds me of our next entry. While everyone was excited for the Golden Wind anime, Pitter Patter Pop came out of the JoJo-shaped woodworks. Pitter Patter Pop was a stupid name and long to pronounce, so I will nickname it Frisbee. Why? Read the chart. Frisbee sticks out with its Pitter Patter Poppin' art style and colors. It had gameplay, but who cares about that Candy Crush looking shit? Let's talk about the human zoo. Players had their own JoJo mansion with several rooms they can decorate with collectible items and props. Of course, the characters residing in each room can also be chosen. Characters would also interact with one another, creating unique character interaction moments, similar to Tomodachi Life, but with JoJo references. Or Eyes of Heaven if it was a good game. Later on, there even was an update that added a JoJo villa, with even more rooms and a ton of unique decorated rooms. And when I say unique in a ton, I mean unique in a ton. Look at this. It had puzzle games, you could have characters party and unlock new voice commands, and you could not play it anymore in 2021. Frisbee ran for 3 years, or flown in the air lightly with the wind. What is it? Get the fuck out of the... Frisbee ran for 3 years. Near the end, they did, again, the same 1 month in-game currency thing as before for some reason. There has to be a justification for this. Are people still spending cash, even when they can't play the game? I want to meet the people that bought currency during that time. I have to look them in the eyes. I need to know if they actually have a soul, or if the lights are just on. This one does really make me sad. It had, in my opinion, the perfect chibi art style. One of those comfort games you can just lose yourself in. And now it's gone. Forever. Luckily there's a fan project going on to recreate an offline Frisbee for modern hardware. But not just Frisbee. The other 2 games also have similar projects going on. Or rather, just DR. I'm not sure about the brown looking one. I'm not sure about the brown.
Bro, I'm really about to get your pickle chin that boy. Hey, go that collard green hair that boy. Oh, hit on boy, dirt that boy.
Please check them out. Both are still working on their project. Development is slow, but so is most game development. So please check them out and support them in whatever way you can. This is one of JoJo Bizarre's adventures' biggest mystery. Mainly because I don't know what the hell they mean by this. Yeah, I ask around and even other people don't know what this one could mean. But Harmon Beats had a similar hunch as I. Remember the Phantom Blood movie? I hope you do, because I talked about it like 5 minutes ago. But if your answer was yes, then you are probably lying, because you can't remember it. You haven't watched it. I called the police. They're on their way, and the body cams are also turned off. A bad tendency film adaptation was most likely to be followed after the Phantom Blood movie. It seems like they wanted to recreate the mangas as movies. I'm happy they didn't though, because I think we have the best adaptation ever created. Name one adaptation that feels more accurate to its original work than JoJo's adaptation. And don't say Monster, because that's not fair and you're stupid. You're probably aware that Part 5 had a PS2 game. When it was first announced during E3 2002, Capcom also announced a Western release. It would be released as JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in North America and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure in Europe. Or rather, it would not be released at all. We know the game was fine enough in translation to receive an ESBR rating and box art. Aside from that, the translation of the game remains lost forever. We were also never given a reason as to why it never released. People say it was never released because the singer known formerly as Prince threatened to sue over the namesake for Golden Experience. There's some hogwash. Again, I can't find any credible source saying this. And again, it makes no sense. They would probably just change the names again, just like they do nowadays. But let it be known, the artist formerly known as Prince likes to sue people over this type of stuff. Or rather, he liked to sue people over this, because he's also lost media. Fan translation of the game exists, however. So if you ever wanted to, who am I kidding, you will not play this. Look at this. Now we are entering more obscure territory. You guys might be familiar with the JoJo light novels, like Purple Haze Feedback, also known as Let's All Pretend This Is Canon for the sake of my Fugo-loving heart. We can talk about that another day, however. A light novel writer, Otsuichi, traveled to Shueisha's editorial department. He noticed something strange. JoJo 1, 2, 3, and 5 all had light novels. Notably skipping over part 4, Otsuichi just simply asked if he could write one. And they said yes. So he began working on the Anatomy Lessons of Dr. Nicolaes Tulp. The name is from a Baroque painting from 1632. Which came first, the painting or JoJo's Bizarre Adventures, remains a mystery to this day. It takes place 1 year after part 4. It followed Kaoru, a 9-year-old boy moving into Morium befriending Josuke. Together they learn about Stance and the town's history. Meanwhile, his mother is frightened by a stalker and an art theft case resurfaces. The mother is frightened even more when a strange old man asks her if she had secrets. It was announced in JoJo alongside with a 30-page manuscript featuring new artwork by Araki. JoJo is going to appear later again, but Yomu in JoJo literally translates to read, so you can take a good guess what the magazine is about.
Light novels.
After several attempts, Otsuichi had a finished 400-page manuscript. He was completely unsatisfied with the work, thereby discarding it entirely. That original version of the light novel is gone. I say original because we'll get an actual release later on, under a whole new name, for a completely different story. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure 4th Another Day. Does it even count as the same book if it has a different story and title? It's like the boat of Theseus, but instead of a boat changing ever so slightly but still remaining a boat, the boat turns into a submarine. The JoJo anime isn't the only JoJo TV show that is out there, or rather was. JoJoJourney followed the comedians Kendo Kobayashi and Wild Bomb Cookie as they explore locations that were shown in Part 3. In an interview, they said they chose Part 3 because Part 2 would have been too expensive. After all, they would have had to travel to New York, Mexico, Italy, and Switzerland. And I wouldn't wish my worst enemy to travel to Switzerland.
This is an outgoing message from Switzerland. I repeat, it's an outgoing message from Switzerland. Oh, please help us. Our country is too beautiful and peaceful.
At first, it was just supposed to be Kobayashi. The idea was very simple. Every episode by exploring the new location, you get attacked by a new stand. But Kobayashi concluded the best person to play the stand would be none other than his good old friend, Cookie. They didn't just visit the locations, however, they also tried doing other things shown in the manga. When Kobayashi tried replicating the table manners taught in the manga, he quickly realized the table manners didn't work at all. He was so embarrassed he stormed off, leaving the country and destroying every copy of the show with a sledgehammer because it didn't feature Speedwagon in it. Yes, the rumors are true. Spread the word. Release the Johnny cut. The actual reason why it's lost media is much simpler. No one cared, no one archived it, it was only available on an app called DTV, not to be mistaken with DTV, which is very vanilla gay porn. DTV would DTC's service in 2022. JoJoJourney would never be released on streaming, and not a single person decided to even screen record the thing, making it lost to history, which makes me very sad. It seemed like a really fun show. I try my best to find it one day, maybe even ask Kobayashi himself.
I don't know what to put in here as background sounds.
Figma, which is a horrible name to give to anything, including a company, made figurines. One of the figurines they wanted to release was Jonathan Joestar, with a release date aimed at winter 2009. Since then it's been, a long-ass time, so the figurine was most likely cancelled. What remains are just a few pictures of prototypes and nothing else really. Also, the only info I can find on this is a Reddit post from 10 years ago, so take this with a grain of salt. If true, however, I assume it was cancelled because of the deal reading the Quran thing from earlier. Maybe it even was supposed to tie with the official home DVD release of the movie. Figurine in one hand, remote in the other hand. It's time to watch the Phantom Blood movie, which features a more brutal scene of Danny getting killed. This is real, look it up. You can't look it up, it's lost media. If you aren't familiar with what Gorgeous Irene is,
Click off the video right now, you fake fan. Click off the video right now, you fake fan.
it was a short-lived manga by Araki. It featured the main character Irene, and I am not bothered to tell you its story. Listen, we can do it another time. We are 3,500 words into the script. We will talk about it another day, I promise. Also Jump presented in 2016 a Gorgeous Irene figure. Quite simply said, it never ended up being released, which is a real shame. It's a very pretty figure. We've gotten to the last layer. Thank you for staying this long with me. It would mean a lot if you liked the video and maybe subscribe. I really enjoy making videos and I hope one day to do it full time. One day. These last few entries are all about Araki lost media. Every artist has to start somewhere, and Araki started inside the... This is Araki's first ever official work as a mangaka. Here's a quote from one of the judges talking about Araki and his work.
No one is capable of being a freelance manga artist unless they have a story with originality. Of these, I'm interested in seeing an original story by the artist from the bottle. Considering his age, it's safe to say that he's a very smart and promising newcomer.
It was for a contest that he ended up losing. His art hadn't been good enough yet, and his designs were seen as crude. Because of that, it would never see an official publication. The only person who has a print of the bottle is Araki himself. He speaks about it in his How to Write a Manga book, and I can assume it was a Western theme. He had a big heart for that genre at the time, and still now if you take a close look at JoJo. That, however, is just speculation. We can't even ask him because he doesn't have a social media presence. Except for his YouTube channel, he uploaded one water bucket YouTube video and nothing else. In the words of Araki, the work had been too focused on mood and failed as he lacked the artistic strength at the time. He barely can recall the story. It was either about a man saving his sister from a sandstorm or a man getting lost in a sandstorm. His first editor, Ryosuke Kabashima, noted the lack of quality in art and how it failed as a story overall. Araki says the story would have worked if he had been on the level of Toriyama, for example. And in general, mood stories are very artistic based and need good artwork. We know little about the work itself, but again, it was probably Western themed. By the title alone, you could make that conclusion. Also at the time, to stay anonymous, he went under the pen name Toshi Arakino, which means he still included his real name in his fake name. This is yet another one-shot that lost in a competition. He made it at the ripe young age of 18. Here's a picture of him at 18. He was close to winning, but one of the judges said, while the story was good, the art was poor. Art is changing in a way we can't even fathom. Even big corporations like Coca-Cola are starting to use them. It might be that art by hand will become a thing of the past, or maybe not. When the camera was introduced, people thought it was the death of the artist. In a way, they were right. Back then, you would get an artist to draw a portrait of you. Nowadays, you just take a picture. While I don't know the reason why so many people are picking up AI art as a hobby, instead of drawing for themselves, but one reason I heard a lot was, I'm not talented enough. My art isn't getting better. I can't be that good. You saw how often Araki failed at art. Every competition, even jurors and other people would tell him his art wasn't good enough. And now, one of his artworks stood right next to the Mona Lisa.
Well, not literally, but you get it.
Every piece of artwork you saw today is handmade and was made by a person who persevered, gave it all, and tried their best. All of the artwork is also gone. We lose too much good nowadays, especially art. People have the whole art journey documented on Twitter.
I'm not calling it X.
And then get suspended. The entire journey burned away. And if that person isn't keeping a backup, then no one is. Remember the JoJo Traveler thing from earlier? It was only available on DTV for free. And it's only lost media because no one archived it. So what am I trying to say?
It's pretty obvious what I'm trying to say, stupid ass niggas.
Try and archive things, be it your own work or others. Because if you aren't doing it right now, there will be a time when no one can. Now, you could say only an idiot would think that we can save all of it. Only a moron. Well, let's allow ourselves to be a bit stupid. And at least try. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Subscribe! Thank you to Harmonbeat. He added some extra points in the Iceberg that I didn't even notice or didn't even know about. Thank you to the people who allowed me to interview them for the Iceberg itself. And thank you to everyone else who helped me make this video. Especially myself, because I've been sitting here editing this for 6 days. Also, YouTube seemingly likes it when I make videos explaining things regarding JoJo. So if there are any JoJo questions that you have and you would like to see them as a full-time video, please write them down below so I know at least what to make a video about.